Welcome
I have no idea what's going on, guys. This could be a major fiasco.
to Lighting for Profits, your number one source for all things landscape lighting. Powered by Emery Allen. From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
And I'm almost like, okay, is this where I get beat up in front of my friends? Like, what's going to happen?
We discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
That's what I like.
Now, here is your host, Ryan Lee.
That's right. That's right. Welcome to America's favorite landscape lighting show. It's the number one podcast in the world, Lighting for Profits, powered by Emery Allen. Oh, man, I love doing this, guys. I love doing a live show because it really puts a lot of pressure on me. I recently moved, guys. I moved out of my office to put some pressure on myself, and so I'm back in the studio at my house. I'm at my house right now. I might look like I'm in the regular Landscape Lighting Secret Studios, but I'm at my house right now. So I moved out, and I'll talk more about that journey as I do it, but looking at getting into some real estate, buying a building, it's going to help with the training and everything else. So decided to put some pressure on myself and get uncomfortable. And it's not easy working from home because I got 4 kids and a wife and 2 dogs and 7 chickens and a bunch of stuff. The friends are going to be coming over, knocking on the door, ringing the door, but it's going to be crazy. So one of the other things that's crazy is just making sure everything's working. I'm not joking. Like right before I'm going to go live, I was chatting with our guest in behind the scenes here, and it was like, oh man, I forgot to even plug in my thing. I couldn't find the cord, everything else. The lighting's off, the audio, all this stuff. So when you move and set up this new studio, I've got cords everywhere. So I got some cleanup to do on my end. But thanks for being here, guys. What's up, Mike? What's up, John? Thanks for always showing up. Thanks for your guys' support. Guys, today we got a good show. We've got Pat Harders with Sterling Lighting and Sterling Lighting and Enlightened Landscape Lights. So he's actually got experience in the field, designing, installing, selling, doing all the stuff that the rest of us are doing as well. So he's also a manufacturer and a contractor kind of at the same time. So we're going to talk to him how he manages those multiple personalities. So make sure you guys stick around. We're going to have a lot of fun. And if you are looking to start or grow your landscape lighting business, then this is the place to be. So what's up, Chris? Thanks for being here, man. If you guys have questions, by the way, this is a live show. So if you have questions, and I'm not saying I'll ask them, but you could try. You might as well put them in the comments, and I'll think about it. Like I've got an agenda. I've got things that I want to ask, and it's my show. So I'm just going to ask the questions that I want. But no, seriously, I do want input. So let me know. Well, we already have one question. We'll ask him that. We'll find out if he can take you down. I think we need to organize a. I don't know. Maybe we just go on a lighting trip. It's really unsanctioned by any organization or anything like that. And there's a lot of egos. There's a lot of personalities. There's a lot of wrestlers. Why is there a lot of wrestlers in this industry? Well, I don't want to wrestle anybody, but I do want to bet on people. That would be kind of fun. So what's up, Greg? What's up, Tom? Thanks for being here, guys. Okay. Well, guys, like I said, we got Pat Harders coming on with Enlightened Landscape Lights and Sterling Lighting. And don't forget, we also have the new segment that I started called Gift Card Giveaway. So make sure to stick around. I'm literally going to pay you guys to be here. And I'm asking, this is kind of a simple question today. So the first one to answer the question right is going to get $50, guys. I know you're loaded and you don't care about money, but it's free money. So stick around. And do want to definitely thank Emery Allen for their partnership. They've been a huge support to me and really to the lighting industry, helping me do these things. And just a quick shout out to them. You guys know a fixture is only as good as the light source inside it. And this light source is what your customers and future customers will ultimately see at night and will result in thousands of dollars in return business for you, along with glowing referrals. So Emery Allen, they believe in lighting, that the lighting professionals should have access to a light source engineered from the ground up, dedicated to high performance when you need it most. So, at the end of the day, it's what's on the inside that counts. Don't forget to take advantage of Emery Allen's world-class customer service and 10% off your first order for new clients. So the best way is to just email the owner, Tom G, at emeryallen.com, and he'll get you hooked up with your discounts, your discounted contractor pricing, and your account and all that stuff. So go check those guys out. And it doesn't hurt that Tom's a nice guy either. So get in touch with him at tomg at emeryallen.com. So yeah, I'm with you. Well, I'll drink Mountain Dew and watch others wrestle, unless my wife's there. What's up? What's up? I don't know how to get rid of the Facebook user. I thought you go to streamyard.com/Facebook, but not sure if that's true or not. So again, guys, in just a couple minutes, he's in the background waiting. We got Pat Harders with Sterling Lighting, so stick around. We are going to learn a lot. We're going to talk about the journey of an entrepreneur. We're going to talk about how to scale. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff and some of the benefits that Sterling Lighting offers to the lighting industry. So before we have him come on, you guys know that I love business. I'm addicted to it. It's actually a problem. It literally is a problem. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. There's a lot of things that affect my ability to succeed and your ability to succeed in life. And yeah, we're always talking about profits and sales and marketing and pricing and all those things. And there, obviously, if you're going to run a business, you have to be good at those things. But today I want to shine a light. See what I did there? On a couple things that I'm committed. I'm committed to, right? I'm committed to being better at. And the first one, a few weeks ago we had, man, time is flying. I don't know if it's going fast or slow or what, but it was just last week we had Megan Likes. We were talking about finance and numbers and everything. If you did miss that, go back and listen to it. But a couple weeks before that, we had Bobby Walker on, and I was at the huge convention. We did a live thing, and I realized the audio wasn't like awesome. A lot of had a lot of background noise and stuff like that. But still, go back and listen to it. It was a very important episode. And Bobby had struggled with some things over the past year, really maybe more than that, but that's when it really hit him hard with depression and stuff like that. And as I talked to him, really over the past year, we would share messages and stuff like that. I really he was talking and it seemed like it was getting deeper and deeper depression. I was like, man, wait a minute, I've felt the same stuff he's felt. In fact, I just felt that yesterday and today or whatever, right? And I was like, man. So I start talking to him, and I realized I struggle with a lot of these same things, and I'm like, wait a minute, how could I, as a successful person, I feel like I've got 4 kids, I've got a wife, I've got a house, I've got a successful business, how could I be depressed? And I used to think depressed was you're either happy or depressed. There's no middle area. And I was like, how is that even possible? And so he challenged me. He said, listen, go to this app. It's called, I don't even know what it's called. BetterHelp. It's called BetterHelp. He goes, go to this app, just schedule an appointment. Don't worry about who the therapist is. Fill out the application. They'll pair you with someone that's a good fit for you. And I did that. And I just want to report. Okay. I just want to hold myself accountable. I did that. I met for my first meeting with this therapist this last Thursday. I think it was last Thursday. I got a meeting this Thursday, another one. And I just got to tell you guys, it was awesome. I went in, I go in and I set the rules. Now, listen, if I don't like you, I'm going to fire you right after this. And, I don't like this, just so you know, I'm trying to be the tough guy approach. Right. And, he's like, well, how can I help you? And I'm like, just immediately I'm defensive, just I don't know, fix me, and so he starts asking me questions like they do and stuff like that. And it was awesome, actually. It's not like one session changed my life or anything, but actually I took a lot from it. I got some clarity on some issues that I'm like, wait, I do know what's wrong. I do know I'm feeling that way. Right. And I talked about in the past, I could get someone in my program to just send me an awesome message today to say, thanks for doing what you do. You changed my life. And I get those messages, and it feels good for 5 minutes. But then the next hour, I'm just I just don't feel that motivated. Right. And so mental health is a very big thing. And I'm telling you, again, it's great to work on your business, but you guys have to work on yourselves first. Your mental health, your physical health. And those are the 2 things that I'm committing to right now to work on myself to make sure that I can keep moving forward in the business. Right. And so again, I used to, and here's the thing, it's almost like a downward spiral, because you start thinking, you know what, what's wrong? Why do I feel like this? I should be more grateful. I've got the house, I've got the wife, I've got the kids, I've got the business. Why do I feel like this? And so then you feel guilty because you're not grateful. And so it's important to take care of your mental health. It's important to talk to someone, a professional, other than your friend, other than your spouse, other than, a colleague, right? Someone who actually knows and is trained how to do this stuff. And it was great. So I discovered some things that, some tools and stuff that I can do, and I already started implementing them. It takes discipline. It's not easy. It's not that I'm a champion. I've conquered all this stuff. But I'm going to meet with someone once a week. And for now, this guy, he survived round one. So I figured if I put him through the ringer, and he wanted to meet again. So we're meeting this week. And I'm not sure if it's going to be this guy every week or not, but so far, so good. So want to encourage you guys to take care of your mental health. And it's super easy. Like, you just get rid of all the excuses. Don't be like, well, where am I going to find one? And what if this, what if that? Like, don't worry about the what ifs. Just take action today. The other one, and then again, we're going to have Pat Harders with Sterling Lighting and Enlightened Landscape Lights. But the other one I want to tell you to work on is your physical health. And this one is really, really hard for me because I guess I've got a good metabolism. People think I eat right and exercise and all this stuff. I really don't. Like, I don't take care of my body. And I drink a ton of Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper. That's really kind of how I just keep going. And but the other day, I've been dealing with some issues, just with some discomfort, some fatigue, nothing crazy, but it's been going on a long time. And so I went to this guy. He's called a manual osteopathic therapist. Okay, it's not a chiropractor. It's not a massage. He targets the nerves. And this was awesome experience. Talk about taking care of your physical health. It's great. So one of my new things that I started, a new habit that I started a while ago, was doing push-ups every day. And that's been great. It's part of my routine now. It's part of my habit. And I'm going to continue to add more to it. But it was great to go to this guy because he was like put my body in like a couple weird positions and then like pushed on my back on this nerve. And I'm like, ow, like literally saying ow. And then he does some other stuff with my nerves, and then he pushes on it again. It's like I don't even feel it. And so he was able to get me aligned and all this other stuff, and really cool stuff. So those are my two things right now. I just want to work on my mental health. I want to work on my physical health so that I can keep the pace up. And a lot of people don't talk about this because it's hard to talk about. It's easy to talk about, like hire your replacement and increase your sales and close more deals and increase your price and all this stuff. It's hard to talk about this stuff because it's real, and so I want to challenge you guys with me, come on this journey with me. Pick one thing that you can work on your mental health. Pick one thing you can work on your physical health, and make a habit out of it. That's what I'm doing. So, Chris, I won't be here for the gift card giveaway, so I'm submitting my answer now. 5,000 K. All right, 5,000 degrees Kelvin. That would be interesting. I can't even remember what the question is right now, but if you get that right, I'm going to go ahead and like quadruple the amount to 200. How's that sound? So, because one of the answers one day will be 5,000 K. So maybe it's today. All right, guys. Well, I think it's that time. Live show. I got to figure out how to hit buttons and stuff like that. So I think it's time. You guys ready? If you're ready, let me know. All right. What's up, Pat Harders?
Hey, Ryan. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. We've been talking about it for months and months and planning this out for a while. So I'm glad to be here. So
you're a hard man to nail down. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying before I came on, it's not often that I hear someone surprise me to come up with an idea that sounds out there, and I go, I don't know if I'll be able to pull that off. And I think about 2 years ago when you and I started talking, and you said you're going to do this and create this platform, and how it's evolved and come into such a fruition. It's awesome. Great job. So that's exciting. And this is such a good platform because lighting it's a tough business, and you've given a voice and given some companionship, and we're all in this together. So I appreciate all that you're doing.
Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that. It's I got a lot of that. Like, as I would call people and Facebook message people, people were like, who are you? And they're like, what are you doing? I got a lot of that. Like, this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. This is not going to work. I felt that, I'm like, and actually, I think that's one of those things that can motivate us. Have you ever had that where, you maybe even had a client go, you can't charge these prices. You guys are going to be out of business in no time, or, push back from other people around you?
I remember, was it 2002? I had a customer tell me that lighting was a temporary business because solar was going to take over. Going in manufacturing, leaving a franchise. I've had, it's always something that's an exciting thing when nobody believes you can do something, and you just have to take action and go after it. So yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's jump into your story a little bit. I guess I first want to ask you, you've got kind of multiple roles and multiple hats you wear, which I'm surprised. I don't know how you like spread your time. It seems like you're very active in both. Let's first talk about Enlightened Landscape Lights. How did you get into the industry? How did you get to be a guy that's like, yeah, I'm going to do my own landscape lighting business?
So I started off, I was in college paying my way through, and, didn't take college serious at the beginning. So I ended up having to go get a job, worked selling Cutco knives
Nice.
for a summer. And
I
then
almost did that. I saw there was an ad in the newspaper, and it's like,
Yep.
marketing representative needed. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally going to be a marketing rep. And then you go there and like, look, it cuts a penny. And you're like,
Yep. So I was actually debating, I was either going to be a roofer or that. And I went to go roofing one day. I'm like, I think I'd rather sell. So I got into that. And then I decided to go back to school in 98. And a friend of mine, kind of a friend of a friend, but we became close friends, Tom Fenning, owned Outdoor Lighting Perspectives, the whole franchise system. And I just needed something to do. So I started doing nighttime designs at night. So I would go out. Most of the time it was 7 nights a week, but sometimes 6 nights a week, go out and you'd set up the full demo and dance around and jump around, and customers would have you drag everything all over the place. And I'd stay out there till 11 o'clock at night. And I did that for 2 years before opening a franchise in Northern Virginia in 2001.
Nice. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So then at what point did you separate from the franchise and start your own business?
Yeah. So I always tell my crazy story was about 2008. My first year in business, we did about 300,000 in business. Next year we did 600,000. So I'm thinking like, oh, we're going to be at like 5 million in no time. And like 6 years later, I'm at like 600,000, 700,000, always just bumping back and forth right at that level. And I was getting up at 6 a.m. and working till like, 10 o'clock at night. And I was driving down the road and I just prayed like, God, take this business away from me. It's a terrible industry, terrible business. I work constantly. I could go work anywhere else and probably make more money. And the business was taken away, but it wasn't, totally different. So it was 2009 happened. Our franchise kind of collapsed. And we just had a totally different view of where we thought lighting was going to go. So, it was 2011 where I had to make a decision. And that was one of the big moments where I just had to say, I'm just going to go out, kind of Cortez, where he burned the ships after he got to the New World. It was, I'm going to try this out. I've got a lot of headwind and a lot of obstacles to overcome. And, we had 2 years of lawsuits and everything else, but we were on the right side and, made it through that whole thing. And really about 2013 got to really set up a business the way I thought landscape lighting should be set up.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. No, I love that analogy. I use it when I started my lighting business too, because I was selling software, making really good money. I don't even know why I decided to leave it looking back, but I was doing lighting on the side, trying to do 50-50. And then all of a sudden my sales were down with software and my lighting business was like not nearly as good as I thought it could be. So same thing. It was like, no, I got to burn the boats. I got to go all in. So I think that's an important thing for everyone listening is like at some point, you can keep kind of mucking around doing what you want, but like at what point are you going to commit and go all in? And that's when I think your story really started to change and you started to get some traction, right?
Yeah. And it's funny. I think every time, we always talk about these levels in business here in Enlightened or in Sterling. And every time we hit one of these levels, you're called to do that all over again, where it's like, I got to risk everything. I got to challenge myself in ways. I've got to, be willing to not be comfortable and get out of my comfort zone. And, so it didn't matter if it was getting up to 1 million or going to, 2 million, 3 million, 4, whatever it was. it just, you know, brought in different challenges and communications and systems, and, you know, challenging myself to grow from where I was in, you know, where I love lighting design, and then like, how do I actually, you know, run a business efficiently, and how do I become a good leader, and all things that you teach in your course. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So what were some of your like initial revenue goals? You said like you're hitting the, you know, 400, 600, stuff like that. And then you kind of just thought that would continue to happen. Were you thinking like, man, if I could get to 1 million, that would be the ultimate goal? Or were you
well,
thinking bigger at that?
that was hard. And once, you know, it was 2013, I got free from the franchise system. You know, I'm running the business where really I based it, you know, figured it out finally after many years of going, it's all about design. It's not cookie cutter. It's like, you know, challenge myself to see like how good of a designer could I become. And then in end of 2013, I went to an Infusionsoft event, and we spent 3 days with the owner of Infusionsoft. And he really laid out for us, like setting up your purpose, your mission statement, your core values, and then, you know, what would your BHAG be? So I came back to the office, and, you know, we were in the same position with like, you know, myself, two guys and a girl answering phones. And I said, I want to get to $6 million. And, you know, my head guy, who's more of a, you know, will tell me, you know, why something can't happen sometimes. He's like, well, even if we get halfway there, that's still better than I ever thought we would do. And so we've been working really hard, and we're, you know, I think we're getting, you know, I think next year we'll finally hit that BHAG, and now it's time to reset everything again and go like, all right, what are we going to do? So we had a talk and went through like, what's the next 20 years look like? You know, I figure I've got 20 more good years left of working hard and doing things. So, you know, what can we do? And we start breaking that down into like, you know, 5-year increments, 3-year increments, 1 year, and you know, just challenging ourselves on that.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I want to stay here for a minute because
Mhm.
I think I heard you say it somewhere or write it somewhere, or whatever, is like, you know, you profess that goal and you were like embarrassed. You're like, it's
Yeah.
hard. It was almost like hard to say out loud. Right.
Ah,
And that's what's awesome is like, that's what I want people to do is like,
mhm.
come up with a goal that's just so embarrassing that you don't even want to tell your spouse. You don't want to tell, you certainly don't want to go on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, but then
Yeah.
do it, you know, and like
Yeah.
put it out there. And that's what you guys did. And you're really, really close. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I was talking, I love talking, like, I think a huge advantage we have is the customers we associate with. So we associate with like really successful people. And, you know, I love when I'm able to get out and talk to my great customers. So I had one of my customers, Jonathan Ballard, who, you know, he's 5 years older than me, lives on 300 acres right outside of DC, beautiful home. And we started talking numbers. Like a lot of business people that I know, they're really open with their numbers. He goes, what kind of numbers are you doing? I said, 700,000. He's like, you should be doing 10 million. And I was like, nobody does 10 million. Like the most I've heard anybody do at this business at that time was like 1.2. And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, I'd be doing 10. And I looked around like, he probably would be. So, you know, then I just started thinking like, people could do this a lot better than I can. I got to figure out, you know, how to at least get pretty good at it and build from there.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, when you meet someone like that, and if they say, well, I'd be doing that, one, you believe them. And then two, you're like, if you're like me, you're like, well, if he can do it, why can't I? You know? So that's awesome. What was it? Was it that conference that flipped your mindset? Or what was it where you're like,
Yeah, I think that was the beginning of it. And, you know, I think one of the realizations was I was the problem. And I tell this to business guys all the time. It's like, you know, it's my thinking that's leading the organization. It's my, you know, the way I was looking at business. Sometimes we get these false narratives, and you talk a lot like, you know, customers aren't going to buy it in my area for $400 a light or whatever the trash thinking we have. You know, and as a business owner, a lot of times you don't have another person to bounce your bad ideas off of to say like, what are you thinking? You're an idiot. And so you just live with these, and then you push the rest of your team down because, you know, they can't grow beyond you. You become the bottleneck. And when I heard that talk, I went, I'm the bottleneck in my company. Like, and then the guilt came in because it said like, you're actually holding your people back. Cause like, wouldn't it be nice if your guys were making more money, or the people in your company? So it was almost 3 years ago, we set a goal that we'd have at least 3 people make a 6-figure income in the lighting design income. And then this year we set a goal saying, I want all my technicians to make at least 60,000, but on average about 80,000 as a technician. And so it's just setting goals to go like, I want to impact the team we have and everything else. And I don't want to be the reason that it falters. So it's a good pressure to have, but it kind of kept me up to push myself harder.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's great stuff. I mean, I ran into similar things. It was like I believed all those lies that my customers would tell me. I'm like, oh, why did you choose me? Oh, we liked you, and you're the owner. That's really nice. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm the owner. Like I'm going to be on all these sales appointments for the next 30 years. It's going to be great. And I hired like my first sales guy. He closes his very first job, and I'm like, dude, I suck. Like I thought I was special. I'm just a normal dude, like this guy knows nothing about lighting, knows nothing about sales, and can go and close a deal on the spot like that. Like it made me happy and really ticked off at the same time because I was wrong for like the previous 5 years. And you're right. Like, man, as soon as I got out of my way, it's crazy. Like even from a sales standpoint, like you hire someone, you think that someone won't spend 400, 500 a light, whatever. But a new guy, you just tell him that's what you sell it for. They don't have anything like, and that's what they sell it for,
Yeah.
Or,
No point of reference to say like, they haven't had the customer that beat them up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, a few sales in, they might have that, but then you can work through that. So what types of things? Oh, go ahead.
No, I said what I liked. I was watching some of your videos today, and talking about the idea of setting up a sales process, and like you discuss it, like as you bring on salespeople, you're no longer the owner going, I'm going to be there all the time. So how do you make it so your salespeople can look good and be successful and have, a system? And, at some point I wanted to say, I don't want this to be the Pat Harder's Lighting Company. I want it to be, a brand. And so that you were so much right on, like consistent advertising and having a sales process and sales goals and a system for selling so that it could be duplicated from one person to the next.
Yeah. And I've found that, not everyone wants that. Some people just want to stay small or whatever. And I still push back a little bit on that. I'm like, that's fine. But there is a level. It's almost like my kids. So I got my 8-year-old and 10-year-old, both just little small things. They'll help me take the garbage out. We got those big like city ones, and when they're full, they're pretty heavy. But when they tip it back and they balance it, it's pretty easy. Like they just rolls down the driveway, and even though like it weighs more than them, they can do it. Well, that's how I view business. It's like most of us are making it really hard on ourselves, and we tip that garbage can back way too far, and we're having to lift it up the whole time and walk it. And it's like, it's not that hard. My kids can carry these garbage cans if you're in the right position. And I think that's what a true business should be, is get it to the right position. For some people, that's $1 million. For some people, it's 10 million. That number doesn't really matter. It just matters that you get your business in the right position. And it's not you answering the phone and doing the sales and doing the designs and the installs and all the other stuff. It's not that.
Yeah. I've actually, on the opposite side, I've actually told people like, hey, if you're like a one-man show and, you can hold out doing it, you could make more money doing that than the moment you start hiring people. The problem is, once you hit, in my opinion, hit 40 and manual labor really starts to get old quick, and your joints hurt more and it gets hotter. So it's harder to stay motivated. So, that's where building a team happens. And once you get to the next level, then it becomes more worthwhile. And then you start investing in your people and growing the organization. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So what are some of the things that you've done? You said you got out of your own way, you've hired these people, but anything that you could share with us, some tips or anything like that it helped you let go or helped you have the confidence to do it, or just enable your people to have decision-making power, anything like that that's helped you move the needle to the point where you're at now?
Yeah. I think the first thing is sharing goals. Like that was a big moment to say like, we are going for a goal and we're going to hit this. And it's like, I'm putting it on the line and we're going to do that, and getting other people involved. The consistent marketing, we all have done the roller coaster where you're marketing because nothing's happening in February. Then all of a sudden April hits and you don't want another job. So you stop marketing, and then, kids get out of school and everything dries up again. It's like, oh crap. So then you're going out and running around. So it's like, how do you set up a system at the beginning of the year so that you just get that consistent flow? Or like what we try and do is, we're trying to push as many jobs as we can to finish up or by June 10th. So I could have June, July, and getting into August booked up. so that there's not as much pressure in the summer. So those are two huge things. And then on the marketing side is taking time to understand what my brand is, what sets me apart, what my story is to my customers, because there should be something like, why would somebody want to do business with me versus, just the other guy who's throwing in some lights, and then conveying that in the story and the marketing pieces. And we do a lot of marketing. I think that's just one thing. We'll spend 8 to 12% of revenue on marketing, on advertising. And so we have a big presence online. We do a lot of direct mail. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into just trying to stabilize it. And then it's communication and meetings with people, bringing everybody in and having consistent meetings and talking to your people.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. It's, I was at your event last year, and you guys shared that video about the project you guys did. I think, was it Wounded Warriors? Is that
Willing Warriors. So
Warriors, yeah,
that was a cool project. It was a family that actually came out of our church that was going to Wounded Warriors and asked the soldiers, like, hey, here's more barbecue, but what do you guys want? And they said, we just want to get out of this hospital. And so they did some research on it, and obviously the suicide rate with PTSD and everything else going on is just at a tragic level. And so they bought a house, 35 acres, then they bought a second house and put it on there, and they'll host families and let the soldiers know how important they are to their families. But the issue that they had was it's just so dark that the soldiers felt uncomfortable. A lot of them were from the urban areas and weren't used to sitting in the woods at night. So we approached them and said, hey, would you guys ever be interested in lighting? And they were just thrilled by it. And that won a bunch of awards, and we went to Greece and did all this fun stuff for that project. So it was nice that we were just trying to be helpful, and it, came back.
I mean, that's usually how it works. Like you lead by serving. It's that servitude. That's a word, added servant attitude. And you talk about like differentiating yourself. Most people are not doing that in any regard. And so the only way that they know how to is like, well, I'll just lower my price. And that's a really, quick way to go out of business. So that was one thing that I wanted to point out, because that was something that impacted me when I was there. Like I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And that's an emotion. You evoke that emotion. People are they can't hide from that. Like they felt that. So if they're feeling that in your marketing and everything else, they're going to be more likely to do business with you.
Yeah, we had a talk at this year's from the woman who lit up the Acropolis, and I think she spoke to all the lighting geeks out there, because she's like, the first night when it all came on, everybody was just quiet for like 5 minutes, and we've all had that experience where you first turn on the lights for a customer and it just goes silent, like nobody could say anything. And it's like, that's such a cool feeling that you just silence everybody, because it's like, it's beautiful. The lighting just makes it look amazing. So, but yes, you do need to have. You do need to know, like, what problem are you actually solving? Why are you in business? And why should somebody, work with your company?
That's really hard to do when you're starting your business and it's just you, because there's no time to think. There's no downtime to strategize. You're like, on to the next one. I got to light out, or what about this? I got to return this client proposal, or whatever it is. So talk to me real quick about your involvement with some of the lighting associations. I know you've been a part of ILI, AOLP, IES. What are some of your takeaways from those, and why should someone get involved with them?
ILI was one. Actually, I think James Selecki joined on, and they asked James and myself and Dawn to join in on that as board members when it was like Jan had left. It looked like it was going to go out of business, wasn't going to make it. It was at Oklahoma, and then it left Oklahoma. So we were through that whole transition time, and there were years where it was like we would meet every Monday for an hour to 2 hours to try and figure out how to save ILI. But it's such a great organization. It's lighting design, and ultimately that's what we do. We do lighting design. And I was in lighting for 20 years before I took the course, and I had done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of nighttime design work. I was out there every night for 13 years doing it, and so. When I went out there, I thought I knew everything. And, Greg Matthews was my group and some other people. And it was a lot of fun. It was like 1 or 2 days of all of us strutting around. And then finally, our egos dropped down a little bit. We started actually playing with lights. And going to that childhood, like excitement you have doing it and creating some beautiful projects and, getting different ideas and little tips and tricks and everything else. And so that's a great organization. And, we still participate a lot and invest a lot with ILI. And then AOLP is just great. It's more on the contractor side of like business tips, probably a lot of things that you and I may be covering with our customers as well, but it's like, how can we be more efficient, effective? And I think the biggest thing is, this community is a great community where, everybody helps each other out, and you really do have, a lot of great people here. So, AOLP is a great time just to get together and that's probably my favorite part, is hanging out and seeing everybody again. So, both those organizations are great.
Fun. We did have Chris interjecting earlier. Do you think you could take him down?
I can't. He went to wrestle me and he took me down at our event. So yeah, Chris
really
is big and strong.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. Well, so not in like a real thing. He was just messing around, but Chris is a great wrestler. So wrestlers are a different mindset. Everybody knew the wrestlers growing up, and I was never one of the best, but I loved the sport. And then when my son got into it a couple of years ago, we went all in and we're setting up a program in our spare time and, trying to get something going. And, we have an amazing coach who, I love people that see things different. And I have one of the top coaches in the world it's a female coach, and she coaches Khabib and Cormier and all these guys, and my son. But wrestlers that's a different mindset. Tenacity.
All right. Well, are we going to see any wrestling at the AOLP event this next year in February?
I hope not. That's happened before.
I've heard rumors. I've just heard rumors. So I'm hoping to get, Chris he's not going to get drunk, but you'll probably be drunk. So I don't know. There's a possibility that there could be some wrestling going on. There's some others too.
That was all fun. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good. We have kind of like divisions. So we have manufacturers, we have distributors, we have contractors, just get a cage.
Everybody could do a cage fight. And
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, Billy Coggins is in. Yeah, he's the other one I was thinking of. I kind of want to see like who would win out of all you guys.
Yeah. Well, there is something about the wrestler that, my son's in wrestling, and I told him like the best life lesson you're ever going to learn is you get thrown on your back at the beginning of the period. It looks like you're going to lose, and you just have to fight for 2 straight minutes. And it's like everything you have just so you don't lose. And it's like, if you're able to do that and take that tenacity, then everything in life you'll learn to deal with it. You get self-discipline. So yeah, I was very excited that my son decided to get into it, and I'm very proud of him for doing that.
Cool. Yeah, of course, a ton of parallels you can draw with business. That happens almost every day to us. And that's really what we are as entrepreneurs, as problem solvers. You kind of hit on it earlier. It's like, you solve those problems to get to the $1 million mark. And then it's like, well, how are we going to get to 2? We can't do it with the exact same systems and same strategies. We got to do this and this and this. And you solve those problems. And then you get there and you're like, well, wait, if, we got to get to 6, we can't do it with what we got right now. So we got to be different, and you got to be resilient, and you got to be willing to get punched in the face and get back up and all that stuff. So what challenges are you guys facing right now on the install side, like on Enlightened?
Actually this year, I think one of my biggest challenges I've ever had was we had our core, my team, that became my management team, and they moved up in the company. But the installation guys, we kept going through installers. We get a good guy, if they lasted 2 years or 3 years, that was great. But we just didn't have a group that was staying around. So we had, at the beginning of the year, I think we had 11 guys, and we just looked at it and said, we're going to change the way we're doing it. So every job, we run a profitability analysis on the job. We estimate how the job's going to be on how much profit we're going to make from it. And if the guys are able to beat that mark, then they get bonuses. And, there's some days that, my technicians can earn like $200 if they get the job done well, and we don't have to go back and everything's done right. And then if we get a review, they get $25 for the review. So like all these things we started implementing to, make their lives better. And they actually went back and said, let's get rid of 3 of these guys. They're not working fast. I would have told you 2 years ago, but I didn't want to say anything. And so we slimmed our installation team down to like 6 guys, and they just crush it. they're efficient, they're fast, they get in and out of the door, they're not wasting time. So that's on the good side. I think the challenge right now is just, my own mindset on, is the economy falling apart, and is it going to affect our business? And do I portray that to people? Am I going to feel that way towards a customer, or let my salespeople think that because somebody tells them that? So anytime there's uncertainty, that's one thing. And I also talked a little bit to my guys saying, like, I think, even if the economy did slow down, there's still going to be people putting in lighting. We have to become better on the sales process. When everything's just rolling in, you could be lazy and send out an estimate and wait for the customer to call you back. But we were setting up whole systems to really follow up with our customers. We've been doing the Cardone sales training, and it's one thing I talk about. It's like, you need to reach back to a customer 8 to 12 times before they typically say yes, at least 5. And that was, for us, a lot of times it was like a year or more, where it's like, here's an email or something lazy, and it's like, well, how do you engage a customer in a nice manner, and something that's enjoyable faster, and try and get that sales process going.
No, I those are real concerns. I mean, what the economy is going to do and stuff like that. But I learned years ago, just control the controllables. Like, I don't know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, all that in the world, but I know what I can control. And when I started my business was in 2007, right before the mortgage collapse and all that stuff. And I learned really quickly that I had to be resilient. I had family members going, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, "What are you going to do?" Like, I'm going to just work harder. I didn't know how to work smart yet, but I did know how to work hard. And so instead of closing a $20,000 deal, I only got a $10,000 deal, but at least I got $10,000. These were our customers, like you said, our client base, they are wealthy, and a bad economy for a few years, they're going to be fine. Can you imagine going from 50 million in assets to 25 million in assets? I mean, that must be rough, but you still have 25 million, And so, they, just like we've seen, like, there was a little bit of a slowdown, and then all of a sudden, what happened? They got bored. They forgot that they were rich. It's like, oh, wait, I still have all this money. Like, I was supposed to be poor by now. Let's get some outdoor lighting. Let's do an outdoor kitchen, a pool, all that stuff. So I look at the economy, going into a recession as an opportunity, because what's going to happen is all the weak companies, the people without the systems, the processes, and all the things in place, they're going to weed themselves out. They're going to be gone. And then guess who's going to be standing strong? It's going to be companies like yours, and you're going to be in a better position.
Yeah, that's where your leadership has to come in, where, we set the tone of our companies, we set the morale of our companies. And, I'll talk to some of the guys that I coach or work with and say, like, you can't let yourself get down. If you're by yourself and a customer beats you up, beats you on price, and then you put it in, it's always the ones that beat you up on price are the ones that are also going to beat you up afterwards to, adjust it 9 times. But, if you're by yourself as a small lighting company, a lot of times those guys, can have some issues, or they let themselves get down. They don't have a support group. They don't have people around them. And so, 2008, 9, and 10, I think I lost like 6, 7 competitors. And, if I don't know what's going to happen with the economy, but if it does go down, like, we just have to be better, more efficient, and understand that not everybody's going to make it through. And so, for the people listening out here, that's why it's so important to have lighting people you're talking to and other businesses you're talking to, and really feeding your mind with positive thoughts and getting some quiet time in the morning. I loved what you were talking about early on, is, taking care of your mental health. And that's crucial to anything. Like, if you come in with a bad attitude, or you come in feeling down, it's going to bring everybody else down in your organization. And they're looking to you to say, like, help get us through this. And so, we do need to take care of ourselves. We need to take some time, go to the gym, wake up early. And, I love one thing that we're going through is, every day try and take massive action in something. So, when we were kids, we all played really hard and never thought about getting tired. And now we pace ourselves, and it's like, what? And just go after it. Go after what you can do.
Love that. Well said. Guys, I don't know how I got so distracted. The conversation's so good. We got to get to our segment. We got to give some money away. Are you okay if we take a quick pause? Are you guys ready? It's time. Gift card giveaway. That's right. It's time to give away a gift card, $50 to the first person that answers this question correctly. And guys, I'm looking at it. This is an easy one. Chris Applestott already put his answer in, so maybe he got it right, maybe not. It's gonna sound a little ridiculous, but this is an easy one, guys. We're probably gonna do a harder one next week. This is the easy one. So the first person to answer correctly, just type it in the comments wherever you're on YouTube, Facebook, doesn't matter. Here's the question. This design technique. Oh, by the way, Pat, don't answer this. Okay. Just because you know the answer doesn't mean you should answer, because we want to let someone win. So this design technique is used when you want to show the outline of an object without showing the actual color or texture of an object. It is performed by placing the fixture behind the object so that the surface behind the object is illuminated. So there it is, guys. We had Jeremy says, a really big shocker here. Professional connections. So professional connections, 5,000K, and keep your guesses coming in. This is a pretty easy one. All right, a bunch of people. Mike can't spell. It is, someone already got it. Some people were saying backlighting. The first person, the winner, is Daniel Shaw. Congratulations, man. Silhouette lighting. Silhouette lighting is the answer. So that's awesome. And some of you can't spell, Mike. But I guess there's no rule on this. I didn't say anything about it having to be spelled correctly. So if you would have been the first one with improper spelling, we would have done that. So Daniel, I think I've got your address, but just if you'll just shoot me a message on Facebook just to remind me that you won and all that stuff, we'll be sure to get you out your gift card giveaway. All right, that's always fun, and I usually play it earlier, but it was just good combos. So, you ready to get back into it, Pat?
Always, yeah.
All right. So I want to talk about Sterling and talk about that. I know you guys just finished up your lighting summit not too long ago. The only complaint I heard, are you okay with negative feedback or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The only complaint I heard was that you didn't have Ryan Lee speak again. So, I mean, what is up with that?
Yeah. You were there our first year, and we got to get you back next year. So we had a lot of positive reviews. I know you had your meeting like the week after.
Yeah, so, it was busy. No, I think I might have been the only one complaining that Ryan Lee didn't speak. I don't know if that's a real rumor.
No, actually, people did ask like where you were, and I said, oh, well, we got to get him back next year. There's so much planning that goes into those things, but yeah, they're great, and it's good to get as many people involved as possible. We had a goal. I think we had like 40 some people the first year, and by the time it was all said and done, like 140, 150 people last year, and a goal for 300 next year. So, yeah, that's good.
That's awesome.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely growing. People are talking about it. I want to talk about it real quick. Like, what is, if someone's listening, they don't know about it, they didn't go, whatever. Like, what is the purpose of that annual summit?
I still look at it, I remember my night in the truck going, get rid of this business. I'm done with lighting, and understanding how hard and challenging it is. And one reason I stayed in the installation side is like, I wanted to prove, not just say like, hey, I'm a manufacturer. I ditched the installation side. You guys figure it out, but actually, see if I could be one of the ones that kind of figure out how to really scale and grow the business. So if you go to the event, actually, some of the feedback we got is people said you didn't talk about your products enough or even show your products that much. It's not really designed to be a sales event for Sterling Lighting. It's, how can we grow our business? We had talks on, one was mental health and getting along in relationships. One was, building and scaling your business. We had a gentleman come in and talk about that. And I think like 9 or 10 people signed up from that, used to be part of Infusionsoft, the guy who affected me years ago. So it's really just an idea to, bring some of the best lighting people together, talk about our businesses, and then, just as important is going through and looking at design. And it was funny, Jesse Lokes from Italy was like, we spent 6-7 days doing this, and you guys knocked it out in 2. And it was, we had more duct tape and Band-Aids to make it look all right, but our leads did a great job when I said, like, we're going to try and do it and have, the news out there and 50 to 100, people from Danville all come and watch, and you guys get basically 2 nights to do the whole thing. It was a massive challenge, but they did awesome. So they really made it look beautiful. Yeah. It was cool.
It looked cool. I mean, all the pictures and stuff turned out great. How many do you even know how many fixtures were out there? I know I was there the year before, and it was just like, these boxes and boxes. There,
Yeah.
I think there was more this year. Like you guys had hundreds of lights out there.
We put it to 3 groups, and we actually limited the groups this year. So each group got about 90 fixtures altogether.
Okay.
And
I think,
know,
I think people were like calling when the first year, people were like calling in and be like, hey, can they knew some like contacts there or something. I need an extra box of wash or whatever, like they were getting extra lights.
We had trucks just coming in and dropping off 5-10 boxes. But then we found out cleanup was very difficult because we were exhausted. And then you look around like, who cleans this up? I'll put them up in a tree on a ladder. And I think it was Chris Applestad was the one that put it up real high, and it was a hard one to get down. I think there's actually still one fixture up in the tree from the year you were there at that facility. I was like, I just cut it and left. I'm like, good enough. It'll fall down someday. It's just zip tied up.
That's awesome. So let's talk about Sterling kind of specifically before we wrap up. Why, people are, you're growing your name, you're growing your brand. I'd say, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, not hardly anyone knew who Sterling was. It's getting out there. More and more people are using it. What is your competitive advantage in the lighting industry?
Well, I started off, was really solving a problem. I had a product that failed, and I think everybody's heard my story where I bought 700-800 lights at about $150 to $200 a fixture, and they failed at 50-60% in the first 6 months. They had 20-year warranty, all this craziness. So manufacturer wouldn't honor it. I was stuck, and I had to figure out. I just left the franchise, so now it's like my own name. I've got all these lights out there, and so I started off just looking at designing a fixture, and was just at that point buying a fixture and finding a lamp that might work. But then we came up with the idea of if we could combine the idea of the whatever you want to call it, drop-in lamp or a retrofit. And I know James is probably in there yelling at me right now because I'm calling it the wrong name.
Exactly.
But
it's not a drop-in.
Yeah, if we could combine the convenience of that with the thermal management of an integrated, so you had basically an integrated light that's serviceable and easy to be serviced, and then if we could keep the internals the same for a long period of time, it really allowed me to scale my business better because my inventory trucks, my inventory and my service trucks is really easy and simple. I don't have a lot. I could carry cups, I could carry drivers. But on the integrated side, I saw the problem with, when one goes out, you go to replace it, that model's been upgraded and it no longer matches. And with the drop-ins, the lamps do the same thing. And so we've tried to keep everything as consistent as possible, do high output, high CRI, really show that in the best, and really premium optics, single source. So it's really trying to make a very reliable, robust product. And it really is for my business, and then just kind of built from there. So
why should someone do integrated versus a lamped product from your perspective?
My feeling, when I was going out, so 2011 to 13, that's all I did is drop. And I went from an integrated fixture. It was like a semi-integrated fixture. You could service it, but it took forever to service it. The driver was in the ground, and that wasn't the best case. So then we went to the lamps, and I'd go by and look a year later or 2 years later, and I'd see 2 diodes out, 4 diodes out. Some you could tell were air cooled and were never designed to be inside of an enclosed fixture. But the issue that I just saw is just getting that heat management out of that. Air doesn't dissipate heat well at all. That's insulation is air. So that's what I was looking for, is how do we get that thermal management out? But I don't want to, have a $150 light lamp that when the electronics go out and you throw the whole thing away, because it's just a complete waste of brass and everything else. So it's just trying to figure out how do we make something that can be more efficient, easy to service, easy to take care of. And I've been putting we came out with the current, the SLO1 we call it, in 2013, and the SLO7 in 2013. And my goal is to have a 0.25% failure rate after 5 years, and now ours are going on 8 or 9 years, and very, very few service calls. So
that's awesome. Do you guys I know you can switch the wattage and the optic and stuff like that. Can you change the color temperature, or is that a separate order?
It's a separate cup. So that's what those are. We've looked at new technology and next generation. I've been spending a lot of time on over the last year and a half, 2 years of onshoring and really designing the best of the best lighting fixtures that I believe. The first time I got the opportunity, I said, if you could make a light fixture, what would you have it do? And I said, I have it go from 100 lumens to 700 lumens with a 15, 30, 40, 60 degree optic or an open optic. And I could change everything real quick and easy. So if I guessed 430 lumens on a house and I get out there and it's too bright, that I could just tone it down real easy without having to change the fixture out or without having to go and put new lamps and everything. But the new things we're working on, there's a lot of different technology we've been playing with. And I find, anything we do like this is just a puzzle to me and just trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should spill the beans a little bit. Give us something. Like, I was going to ask you about RGB. Do you guys view that as a fad, or is that something that Sterling will probably eventually adopt?
Yeah, it's funny. I went overseas years ago and I'm like, I really like RGB on certain applications. And I've had some certain applications that I've used it on. And then I go to some homes where they put it and it's just shifting. And so it's like red, green, blue, and it just looks insane. So I believe that RGB actually takes more design to make look right than white light. And I personally prefer white light. I mean, I'm an old classic. I like the beautiful natural look. There's certain applications that RGB can work. We do have colored cups, but I haven't gotten into the color changing, anything like that. One thing is just having the controls to make sure that that's locked tight and would never fail. I'm not a big proponent of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or anything like that, with communication going that way. So there are some good products out there that, Haven makes a really good product on the RGB side. But I think you got to be careful and not just let it go crazy. Because a lot of times when I see it, when I'm competing against it, I'll say like, we didn't do that job, when you see like 18 different colors across the front of the house. And I think Nels Peterson said it well when he said, RGB light, if it's not done right, could look very sophomoric, where it just looks like it doesn't quite fit in. It could just look not altogether there. One thing that I'm really interested in that we've been working on is tunable lights is something that's going to be coming. And the presentation we had at the Acropolis, she was showing how at the front of all of the buildings, she would go with like 31, 32K, and then slowly drop down, or by the time she got to the inside of the building, it was like 2,700. So it created a staging effect where it was like drawing your eye in and looking softer and warmer as you went in. So I think there is opportunity for things like that as well. And those would be things that, we're looking at a controlled system that would be more of like a DMX type controlled system. But, from what we're working on is, trying to onsource. There are more and more of our electronics either made in Danville or in Ohio, our metals and everything like that. So there's a lot we're trying to build out, but, we still have our core that we use all the time.
That's cool. What about, before we jump off, I know outdoor audio is on the horizon as well. Is it on the horizon? Has it launched? Is that something you guys are doing?
It's not launched. I'd rather go slow and make sure we get it right. And that's what we're trying to do. So I don't want to just enter the market. If I don't feel I'm solving a problem, I don't want to really do it. If I could just buy it from somebody else. I do see there are some opportunities there and quality. And, I would like to have an American-made audio system, because a lot of it is all made overseas. And so that's what we're working on. I see, one thing I talked about at our event is I think the lighting industry is going to grow quite a bit. I think we're going to keep on getting larger and larger. And companies are going to get more efficient and more effective as it grows. I could see automation really getting into that, and then audio, and a lot of guys are doing well with it. But those are things that are really, really going to grow our businesses, and so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on here, sharing a little bit of your story and passion and stuff like that. You're adding a lot to the industry through not just manufacturing, but also having your own business to test different strategies and stuff like that. And being that example, that's like, 6 million. That we want that to be the new norm, and then you'll be the $15 million company, right? So I think that's awesome that you're leading the way there.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all you're doing, and bringing people together. I mean, this is something that really wasn't being done effectively, and you're adding so much to the discussion, and we'll definitely get get you at our next event. And
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. I do really. I respect what you've done here. I told you that somebody told me to do this like 3 years ago. Like, I couldn't. I don't have the dynamic personality to do it week in and week out. I could get up for an hour and I'm done. But great job.
No, but thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thanks for being part of the discussion. And Pat, I guess if you want to just close us out with how people can get in touch with you or your website, best way to get in touch with Sterling.
Since there's no homeowners listening to this, I wouldn't think in Northern Virginia for in DC area, Sterling Lighting is sterling-lighting.com. And, we'll take care of you. Yeah. And we got, I think, a lot of the people that were listening were our customers already. So, yep. And we'll look forward to our next event. We're having a installation training in September, a Lutron training in October, and then probably another thing in Puerto Rico in February. So.
Oh yeah. About the speaking. Yeah. Puerto Rico. All right. That sounds
Puerto
good.
Rico. Yep.
All right. Sounds good. You guys have a great week and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.